Welcome to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where today's top influencers and entrepreneurs on the rise share empowering stories and ninja tips to become the fuel that ignites a positive change in your life. Our guests don't simply coast through life. They don't let difficult situations stop them. They set big goals, keep their eyes on the prize, and they're joining us today to share insider secrets you can use right now to step into your power and live your purpose. Now, here's your host, Christy Ruffino.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast. My name is Christy Ruffino, and I am the host of the show. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Amie Wade. Welcome, Amie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have fun. We were just talking a moment ago before I hit the record button about how we first met. And it's been over a year, around there or so, but we met, we met in an event, and then you connected in my Facebook group. And it was just a series of touch points that over time we got to know each other. And then I was sharing about one of the projects that I was doing and helping women share their stories. And you're like, oh my gosh, I've got a great story. So that kind of has brought us here. So hang tight, everybody. We're going to tell you all about Amie's story in just a moment. But I am glad that things worked out the way they did, because I love what you're doing in your business and how you're kind of really making an impact in the world.
Thank you.
All right. So let me share a little bit about who Amie is from a professional standpoint, and then we're going to talk about her personal story. So Amie Wade is a certified life coach, certified mind, body, spirit practitioner, a Reiki Master. Of course, the dogs are going to go crazy right now. We just started talking about how quiet it is. It's unusually quiet, but here we go. It's crazy. But Reiki Master, I did not know that. And a Reiki teacher. That is amazing. A certified angel card reader, a certified 200-hour yoga teacher and author. I love that. Her life experiences drove her to use alcohol as a means of coping with her emotions. With the information she gained from taking the certification courses, she learned how to heal her painful emotions and release her addiction. Now, her desire is to help guide women in feeling empowered as they navigate their emotional healing journey with the intention of being confident and living a spiritually based life with a powerful sense of self-love. Love that. I didn't know that you were a Reiki master and a teacher.
Yes, I am. I have certified probably close to 15 people with their Reiki certification.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, that whole Reiki and, well, not yoga, because I've done yoga, but the going through some Reiki experiences, and I've only been through 2 ever. They were both very, very powerful experiences. Yeah. And so for you to be able to not only be a practitioner, but to teach that's no, for me, it's super impressive.
And it's amazing because Reiki, you could have 50 different sessions and all 50 of them will be different for you and the practitioner.
Oh gosh, we're going to have a conversation on that one of these. Dive into that a little bit more. But what we're here to talk about is, first of all, I want you to share a little bit about your story, because as the title of this show is focused on helping people process and become more emotionally resilient, your story, which I've gotten to know you and read your story, which everybody's going to have a chance to read it pretty soon when it goes live in the world. But you took all of that and not only created all of these skills, but now you use these skills to help others. And so let's go into your story a little bit.
Okay. I chose alcohol as a means to cover up and put a Band-Aid on the anger, the shame, the guilt, which was the most powerful emotions that I was harboring. And those were based on the fact that my biological father left my mom when he found out she was pregnant. And later in my life, I found out much more to that story. And then my mom, having a lack of self-esteem and lack of self-confidence, she chose abusive relationships. And for me, they were just more mentally and emotionally abusive. Didn't really experience the physical, but it's all equal in intensity, right? So, and then at 14, I was molested, and just not knowing how to process any of that heavy emotion. And what was modeled to me was, you just keep going. Like, it was a time of where we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to keep going.
Brush it under the rug, right?
Yeah, right.
Let's talk about it. But if we don't talk about it, it didn't happen, kind of a mentality.
Right. But when it comes to molestation, being molested or any kind of sexual abuse, there's a lot of shame to that. And I also was, I had an upbringing where I was, because of the abuse and the experiences that I had, I was not one to speak up for myself. I was shy, timid. I was intimidated, especially by large men, meaning tall and muscular type of men. And so I did not know how to use my voice and speak up for myself. And an introvert does not want attention on themselves.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All of that was against me using my voice to say, hey, this happened to me. So I just learned to put a happy face on, but inside I was torn, I was falling apart, I was a mess. And so as I got older, the alcohol helped me relax. So I found that, it was just a way to suppress those emotions even more and allow myself to relax and have a really good time. Like, I was the equivalent of Norm on Cheers. I walked into the bar and, not everybody, but almost everybody was like, Amie's here. And it was so exciting. And the love and acceptance that I received. And I just had I had a lot of fun when I was drunk. It was great. And I don't want to give that up.
Yeah, because then you'd have to start feeling some of those emotions.
Exactly. So when I was sober, I felt all the heavy emotions. When I was intoxicated, I was the life of the party. Had a great time. And so on the journey of moving into transformation, meaning I knew my body couldn't sustain what I was doing to it. Like, in childhood, I experienced abuse. And then as an adult, I was the abuser. So that wasn't like a forefront of thought at the beginning. That didn't come up till later, after I was moving through my transformation process, that I was like, look back and I was like, wow, I was being the abuser now. And so just learning to allow myself to feel emotion and process it, and still know I was safe in that process.
Right. Because you're kind of having to give up your comfort zone, that state of being intoxicated was your norm. And then to now move into something that was new, that was unfamiliar, that was uncomfortable, even though you knew it was the right thing to do, that didn't make it easy.
No, not by any means. It was not easy to allow that old self to move in a different direction. Because, we asked the quote, well, what if people don't like me anymore? What if, what's my life going to be like without alcohol? What are people going to judge me? Right. And it's what we call the fear of the unknown. But really, if we think about life is unknown. When we wake up in the morning or we go to bed at night, it's unknown what's going to happen.
Right.
But we live in this idea that the fear of the unknown is keeping us stuck.
Well, so there was a time though, when you made that decision, was there a low point? Like you hear of people having stories where, there was some big tragedy that was the pivotal moment for you to make that change. Was it a pivotal moment decision or was it a gradual decision?
I think the biggest decision was my son, because I didn't know how to navigate life. I didn't know how to be, how to deal with these emotions without the alcohol. And here I had a son, a 3-year-old, depending on me to help him navigate life. And I didn't have those answers. I didn't know how to do that.
Right.
And it was interesting enough that when he's almost 27. And not too long ago, he said to me, he goes, when I was younger, I thought adults knew everything. Like they had they knew what to do with life, how to make decisions and all this. And he goes, now that I'm an adult, I realize like nobody knows what the hell to do.
Right. We're all just figuring it out as we go, no matter what age we're at.
Exactly. And the best way that we can in any given moment too. Yeah. And it's allowing ourselves some ease and grace in that we can't do better unless we know better.
Right. We do the best we can with what we have. Right. And that's a great perspective to have when we're frustrated with other people.
Yes.
Because sometimes, we may be, judgmental or, just having challenges with how other people are not showing up. But maybe if we look at it, that they're doing the best they can with what they have, that kind of makes things a little easier, I think.
Yeah, we're just living life through what we know, what we've learned, and to allow ourselves to understand. And I've been fascinated since about 28. I've just been really fascinated about how we show up in our own life, how we think, how we react or respond, the choices and decisions we make and why. And recognizing that the wounded Amie is far different than the Amie that you know today. And I had to learn to do something different in order to grow and expand, and that my life experiences helped me do that. And I truly feel that my biggest life purpose or biggest lesson of life is to learn to have self-love.
Yeah. So that leads me to the next segment. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we're going to come back because you have come up with a kind of a system that you have over trial and error kind of figured out for your own self, but now you help your clients, and it's the 4-step process to emotional resiliency. So after the break, we're going to come back and Amie's going to share a little bit about what that is. So can you hang tight, Amie?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be right back, everybody.
Do you have a story of courage, strength, and perseverance? Would your business benefit from having a more engaging brand, delivering a more powerful message, and attracting more loyal clients? If so, we invite you to join our Overcoming Mediocrity team today. Our authors not only enjoy the benefit of having an Amazon best-selling book easily and economically, they also get boosted credibility and added visibility as their books are distributed to audiences across the globe. Visit omapply.org to learn more. And while you're there, be sure to grab our signature story brand escalation checklist to identify where to use your story to strengthen your brand, deliver a stronger message, and up-level your business. Once again, that is www.omapply.org.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Christy and Amie, and we're going to dive right into how you can be more emotionally resilient. And Amie's got some steps she wants to share with the audience. So what is the first step, Amie?
All right. Well, I'm going to start. The first step is actually going to end up being the last step.
Okay.
And so the first step is going to be make a joy list. And this joy list includes anything and everything that makes your heart sing, that makes you feel lighter, makes you laugh, makes you, just encourages you to feel joy. And it could be, things that you've experienced already that you like to do, and things you haven't yet tried. And since life, things happen in life, and sometimes we might end up where we can't do some of those things anymore. That's okay. Your list can always be adjusted. So it's not the only thing, right? It is not the master list. It is the flexible list. How's that?
Right. So things like joyful memories, things that have brought us joy at one point, things that bring us joy right now, maybe things that we're looking forward to in the future. How is that different than a gratitude list?
Okay. So the joy list is actually going to be action step as your last step after we go through this process. So a joy list, what I mean is like reading a good book, watching a funny movie, maybe pulling up babies laughing on YouTube, or, silly animals. Maybe like myself, I've never done pottery, and it might be something I may or may not like. So I'm going to add that to the list. At some point in my life, I may try it and then make the decision then, right? Some people may like having people over for dinner and trying a new recipe. A barbecue. I mean, it could be big, it could be small. It could be having a bubble bath that just relaxes you, and it just, brings some joy to your heart. So this is going to be an action step at the end.
Got it. So just a list of things that bring us joy.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what is step number 2?
Step number 2 is the heaviest part. It is what I call writing and burning. And this is the process of that person that you're blaming for how you're showing up in your life, right? So my biological dad, leaving before I was born, that made me feel abandoned. That made me feel not good enough, not accepted, not loved. And so that's how I was showing up in my life, feeling that way. So I was blaming him for that. And really those go along with the abusive stepfathers as well, that not feeling loved or accepted, or wasn't good enough, couldn't get anything right, always getting in trouble, go to your room. So it's acknowledging the person or people or situations that you're blaming for the way you're showing up. And then you're going to write a letter to them, but I want to be very, very clear. And I want you to hear this. This process is for you. You're not going to mail or give the letter to the people.
Got it. That's a good distinction, because I know at one point in my life, somebody gave me a letter as a part of his therapeutic process, right, and it wasn't helpful to me at all.
Yeah.
It opened up a can of worms that I knew nothing about.
Yeah. And I hear that because I just very recently went through an experience that kind of set me back. And I was appreciative for the experience because it actually allowed me to let some other layers, heavy emotional layers, come to surface that I had to forgive myself for. So even though it set me back a little, I still found gratitude in it for myself.
Yeah.
So the letter, you're going to write out the situation. Dear so-and-so, you did this to me. Like, you are going to point the finger and blame them for whatever you want to blame them for.
Okay.
You did this to me. This is what it did to me. This is how it made me feel. This is how it's making me show up in life. Like, just really, and it's using, the big bold letters, the exclamation points, the underlining, the curse words, like just it's regurgitating what you're holding inside.
Right.
Okay. Right. And we want to get it. It's what I call moving energy. We're moving the energy of the heavy emotions from the body to the paper. And I really strongly suggest that you use pen and paper, because it's moving that energy through the body, the arm, the hand, from the pen to the paper, right? And
So not typing it with a keyboard in your hands. You want to actually physically write it
out.
Document. Okay.
Okay. And so the reason why we're doing that part is that those heavy emotions, as we push them into our body, we're hanging on to them, we're storing them. And those layers are still there, and we keep piling onto them through our life from life experiences. And we're actually causing undue stress on the body. We unfortunately don't really realize that because we've lived with it for so long, we've hung on to it for so long, it becomes a natural way of being.
Right.
So a good example that I use is, I live in a smaller city now, but when I visit a big city and I'm driving on the freeway, I'm clenching the steering wheel tight. And it's not until I get to my destination that I take a deep breath. I don't realize I'm clenching, right? I don't realize like I'm not really breathing consciously. Like I get to my destination and then I take a deep breath. And what happens when you take a deep breath and release it? What happens is your body relaxes a little more than it was. And that's where you realize, wow, when I'm releasing these heavy emotions from my body relaxes a little more.
And then on the flip side of that, the person that's used to that high stress, traffic craziness, right? They're used to it, but it's still stressful. They've just numbed their self to that experience. And I think that's what a lot of people do is they numb themselves to the trauma, but it's still there.
It's still there. Yeah. And so this is, the reason, I want to hit up on this also is the reason why this process is for ourself. Writing this out is a process for ourself, is similar to what you were saying earlier is, my one stepdad, let's use him, my first stepdad, he passed away. And he had his own emotional issues, his own mental issues, right? His own internal things going on that he was dealing with. And he had an alcohol addiction to numb out. So for me to blame him directly, go talk to him or give him the letter, my expectation is he's going to own up to what he did and apologize. Then, right? Then I can live my life in a better way. Well, in this case, he's not even on the planet. So I can't live my life hanging on to all that stuff that I'm blaming him for and live the rest of my life hanging on to that, because I'm never going to get that verbal apology.
Right. And even if he is alive, you're still letting him have that power over you.
Right.
And
that's a great point, because when you're blaming somebody, you are giving them the power.
Totally.
That until you change, Christy, because you did this to me and this is the way I'm showing up, until you change and you own up to what you did, I can't do anything different. So I'm handing you the power over my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a huge distinction with, abuse and codependency issues and all that is, it's really not about them. It's about how we can navigate through that situation and the healing of that, where we now control the power of ourselves, not let them have they can't have any power over us anymore. It's done.
And so we're going to go through that process and write the letter to them, quote unquote, to them, directly at them. And you write until you feel like you've exhausted what you can in that moment. Just understand that, for myself, if I was choosing to do this process, 50 years of emotional heaviness, isn't going to all come up in one sitting. There are layers. And so you address what is at the surface now.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
And so, it might be a week, it might be a year that another layer is going to come up and you're going to want to write. And then after writing, you burn.
Okay. So is it, you said it was the blame and burn process?
Writing and burning, blame,
writing
the
and
blaming
burning.
letter, writing
Okay.
and burning.
Okay.
So we burn the letter, and as we burn the letter, we just call in our spiritual team to help us transmute that heavy energy back into love. Clear and cleanse it, whatever terminology you want to use to help you release it.
Okay. So we're still on step 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who do we call in to help us with this?
I call it my universal team, which it includes God, the angels, archangels, ascended masters, spirit guides.
So whoever we feel is on our spiritual team and it's unique to us.
Yes.
Perfect.
Then you want to acknowledge the value. There was value in that experience. And the value is because in my adult process and transformation, because I didn't feel like I was receiving love as a child, what I was learning was I needed to receive love external of myself. I was wanting love from the dad, from the stepfathers, from the family, from the teachers, from the friends, right? Love existed external of me. And through my process, is one major thing that I know, is that through my process of transformation is I learned self-love, that like I'm spirit and body. I am already love. I am already loved. And the love already resides within me. And it was up to me to tap into that.
Got it.
So that would be my value. So then I can express some gratitude. Step 3, express some gratitude for the experience, because the experiences taught me self-love.
So acknowledge the value is not step 3. That's still part of step 2.
Nope, that's so writing and burning is step 1.
Oh, I thought the joy list was step 1.
Well, joyless is becoming the 4th step.
Oh, got it.
So write and burn,
Yeah.
acknowledge the value,
Yeah.
and then express gratitude for the experience.
Got
now,
it.
if you struggle with the gratitude piece, the one thing that you can tell yourself is that experience taught me what I don't like.
Okay.
Once I know what I don't like, now I can flip that and focus on what I do like. So there's still a piece of gratitude in there.
Yeah, reframe it, right?
Right.
Okay.
And when you regurgitate that heavy emotion, now you're creating an energetic void within your body. That's where the joy list comes into play. You have that list already made. You write, burn, do your process. Now you go to that joy list and you go do something on it for a minimum of 5 minutes or longer, because we want to fill our cup up with joy.
Yeah. We have to replace the void with something, right?
Yes.
And let's not fill it with something bad.
Right. You don't want it just to be open. We want to fill it up.
Okay. All right. Well, this has been really good so far. So before we get to, I know you've got something you want to share with the audience. Is there any like final point you want to make about this whole process?
I would say that it's important to know that we need to change our stories. My stories were of abandonment, abuse, neglect, lack of self-confidence, shy, timid, right?
Yeah.
Like I've been telling those stories most of my life. What I didn't realize is how much courage and strength, determination, persistence. Like I had all of that in me as well, because I'm still here.
Yep.
And I made it through all of it.
Yep. Yeah. And that's really cool because that's one of the things that I have learned through this whole journey of story is for my own personal life. I know the first time I experienced it and wrote my story and owned my story, right, and came out on the other side of my story in the sharing process, it really helped me grow. And I've seen it over and over again with women. Some of them struggle, right? They come to me, they want to get their story out there, but it's a difficult piece because now they're kind of reliving some of the stuff, probably kind of like, you know, your process in a sense. I don't have an official process to help people through it, but I do notice that many of them struggle with the process of writing their story. But when they get it done and when they get to the other side, they feel such relief and they're so proud of themselves for making it. And I love watching what happens to them over the, you know, the years to come. It's like they're writing a whole new story and they're like growing so immensely just by letting go of that story.
Exactly. And it's similar to the writing and burning. It's moving that heaviness, right, from our body to pen and paper.
Yeah.
And it's not that you need to share it with the world. Some people do.
You don't.
Some authors do, right? But it is a process that it's amazing how valuable the writing is.
Absolutely. Okay. So you have something that you're sharing with the audience. And would you want to talk about what that is?
It's a worksheet that takes you through this process called Change Your Perspective, Change Your Story. So when you can find the value and the gratitude in the experiences, the heavy experiences that you've had, it helps you realize that you can change your story. And when you change your story, you feel more empowered.
Yes. So true. So make sure you connect with Amie. All of her contact information will be in the show notes. In addition, she'll have a link to this gift. It is the Change Your Perspective, Change Your Story worksheet. And it will walk you through the steps of kind of shift, like what she just mentioned, shifting your story. So you can have the next best story ahead of you and be able to step right into that. So thank you, Amie, for joining us today. And thanks everybody for listening. If you heard something that you found interesting, or you learned something today, please share it with a friend, because we know we always retain more when we teach others. And of course, we want to be able to help other people. So share that information with them so they can learn as well. And of course, if you liked our show, if you liked this show, please go in and give us a big thumbs up, give us a review, rate us, do whatever you can to show us some love on the platform you listen. They all have their own little way of making that happen. So love for you to be able to support us in that way. And we'll just see you all the next show. Thanks, everybody. And thanks, Amie, for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where we believe that everyone can have the business and life of their dreams once they've learned the art of mastering their story. Mastering our stories is the key to everything we want in life. Our stories can either hold us back or they can propel us to new heights. We can choose. You can choose. Choose to overcome mediocrity with us. Let's achieve greatness together. To learn more, visit www.overcomingmediocrity.org. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast.